I grew up a church baby. I don't know if y'all could tell that by now, but I did. Like, not just like go to church on Sundays and then, the major holidays. No, I'm talking about I was in church Monday through Saturday, twice on Sundays. My stepdad drove the church van. My mama was a part of all the ministries, and I saw the church house more than I saw my own house some days, like that kind of going to church. I also grew up coaching, and that it's a lot of things to unpack there. And y'all just got here, so I'm not trying to scare y'all away or nothing like that. But in the coaching world, and in some other Christian houses of faith, there are traditions and rituals that believers do or you're exposed to growing up. And one of the things that I remember my church doing a lot of was fasting. Now, just in case you aren't sure what fasting is or you've never heard of that, let me explain. So in simple terms, fasting is just abstaining from food or drink or any other things that you choose that, the idea is that you grow closer to God, or you're abstaining from these things in order to hear from God, right? And as a kid, I never fasted. I never participated in the fast. Those were, that was something that was for the adults, or like the next level Christians, the Christian 2.0s. That's who was responsible for the fasting. And I used to watch my mom and them, suck on peppermints and take down water all day. And I just thought it to be such a blessed struggle that they were experiencing in order to receive this kingdom reward from King Jesus. I used to be like, well, bless their hearts. It looks like a struggle, Lord. I didn't participate in my first fast until I was grown, right, and a member of my own church. And then I had somewhat of a better understanding of what the concept was behind it and why we were doing it. So in September, a little October-ish, it was September of 2016, my church was participating in a harvest fast for the fall. And the focus was around planting seeds of faith and waiting on God's timing. I will say I was still very new to fasting. I didn't quite understand the concept. I knew the basics, and I think I still had this belief that, if I was just being obedient to God and, not eating the foods and praying and doing all the things, he was going to open up the floodgates to heaven and just overflow me with all the blessings that I wanted, right? Now, prior to this fast, my husband and I had been house hunting, and we were really wanting to be homeowners at the time. And once the fast began, my prayer was, I'm believing God for direction and more so approval. Okay, approval for this house that we are looking for. And my little notebook was just filled with prayers and scriptures and conversations on stewardship and faith, all the things that help you, which I would say nowadays, manifest, as you would say, your blessings. And I was listening. I'm listening out for God's answers and, waiting just as bad as y'all waiting for part 2 of Meet Jay to drop. That's how I was. I was waiting, and I'm like, speak, Lord, like, which house was I looking at that's gonna be mine? How many garages, Lord? And should I go with the mother-in-law suite or the floor plan with the attic? Like, have your way, God, in these model homes, while I choose the tray ceilings or the granite countertops. Like, do this for me, Jesus, in your name, right? I'm new to this, but I'm true to this if it means that I'm gonna reap the harvest that you're about to give me in this home. Turns out, y'all, that's not how that works. Okay, that's not how none of it works. I absolutely did not read the syllabus at all. It's one of those things where they tell you, tell God your plans and he'll laugh. Well, I'm sure he gained an entire 6-pack of abs while he was down at the Laugh Factory with me, because at the end of this fast, not even a week after the fast ended, I found out I was pregnant instead. I was like, God, hold on. Like, you didn't read the notes at all. Like, I highlighted them and I put the stars beside them and everything. God, like, I like wrote the scripture. I put it next to it. Like, you didn't read it. God, I said house. They don't even have the same syllables or pronunciation as baby. Like, that's not even in the same. It's not even in the same category. I wasn't looking for this kind of seed. And technically, God, I didn't plant the seed. Like that was my husband, because that wasn't the type of harvest or crop that I was looking for, Lord. Like, I wanted the little pumpkins on my front porch with the little welcome sign. I didn't want to grow a pumpkin in my belly, Lord. Like, where does baby come from? Where does baby come from? Pineapples. I don't like it, and I wasn't ready. But it turns out he was just getting started. Welcome to the Breathe Black Mom podcast, where moms of color can come to relax, relate, and release. I'm your host, T, and welcome back, y'all. We have made it to episode 4. Like, we got a whole podcast here. We're on episode 4. And I know y'all are anxiously awaiting the second part to these stories, but just hang on in there with me, because we are getting there soon, okay? Now today, listen, cut the music. Cut the music for a second, because I need y'all to come close. I need you to come here. Come here. Today you gonna get a chance to meet the one and the only, the mic drop, okay? The finale, the kinder con artist, the queen of mischief, the snack bandit, the one child that makes you question everything, and the whole entire reason why I had to create a podcast. We affectionately call her Jazz, or Pooch, or Poochie, or Pud, Fat, or Wheezy. She's a child of many names. Brace yourself. Brace yourself is all I'm saying. Buckle up. Sit back. Keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle, because this one is gonna take you on a roller coaster ride. Okay, cue the music back in. All right, y'all, as a reminder, I'm only taking time to introduce these kids so that you understand who we're talking about when we jump into the meat and potatoes of this podcast. And by now, you have a good grasp on my first 2 babies. Now it's time to meet that last one. But before we do that, you know the drill. If you haven't already, please follow Breathe Black Mom, the podcast, on Facebook and Instagram. Most importantly, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast on whatever streaming platform you are listening through right now. And lastly, don't forget to leave a review. Okay, tell the people. Y'all know who the people is. If you're liking this or not, I'm giving y'all an A+, because last time you did what I asked you to. You followed the syllabus. You told the people how you liked it. The people read the reviews, and we, the people, we thank you. Okay, we thank you so much for your support, for letting the others know that you're listening, and so they can go ahead and listen too. Okay, all right, y'all. Here goes nothing. I hope you're comfortable. If you're on the couch, go and get your blanket and get you a cup of tea, okay? If you're in the gym, make sure those AirPods are in tight and that they're turned up. And if you're in a car, I am not liable or responsible for you missing that exit or running that red light. So go ahead and pull over, girl. Get comfortable. Let's meet Pooch. This story about this child is so wild that I don't even know where to start. I really don't. I'm gonna start with the fact, though, that hubby and I were not checking for any more kids. Let me just make that clear, like, at all. Okay, we weren't even sure if there were gonna be any more children. Actually, like, after Jordy, we were not sure. And when we initially decided to make this thing forever, we had agreed that we were only going to have one more kid. That's it. Honestly, we both wanted a boy, and what we agreed on is that if the second one was a boy, we were done. But if it was a girl, we might, heavy on the it, try one more time. But at this time in life, that wasn't the time for us. Like, we were down for all the contraceptives, and just to make sure we were even more sure, we opted for the IUD, okay? Because we wanted a minimum of 5 years of security before we made the decision to do this again. So after having Jordy, my 6-week checkup, we got the Mirena put in, and you know, we went on about our business, because we ain't want no more kids right now. About 2 years in, Mirena, it won't do me right. It was causing some serious side effects. So I decided to have it removed in December of 2014. Now let's fast forward now to October of 2015, that fast that I was telling you, and just the irony of the theme, y'all, and the focus of waiting on God's timing. They say don't tell God your plans, and I'm here as a part of the peanut gallery just to say amen, because won't he show you his will anyhow and just ignore you? Yeah, the fast ended on October 11th, and like most people who are human enough to admit it, when we're fasting, I couldn't wait to eat. I wanted to eat. I wanted some pancakes. That's usually like my first go-to whenever we end the fast. I don't know why I want pancakes. I want carbs. I want it. And I couldn't even eat like I wanted to that first day or so after spending 21 days of, not eating sweets and sodas and breads and meats and all that stuff. So it really wasn't what I was expecting. But those next few days, oh my God, I was snacking on everything, like everything I could find. And I was just being greedy for no reason, like none at all. I was so hungry. But again, chalked it up to, hey, just got off a fast, ain't been able to eat this stuff, so I'm just being greedy right now. In the midst of all this, I'm at work one day, and I'm in the lunchroom, and I used to track, my fertility through a little fertility app, and I'm sitting in the lunchroom, and I just casually check my fertility calendar as I normally do every few days, or just to keep myself, on top. And I peeped the date, and the date is Wednesday, October 14th. And I'm a little confused because I'm not sure how I missed the memo, because my cycle is due today. Now, under any normal circumstances like that wouldn't be a problem, right? Because just because it's the day of, we know it fluctuates, and I usually wouldn't be bugging. But the past 8 months, we have been using the rhythm method. If you don't know what that is, go ahead, stop, pause, look that up. So we had my body down to a science, right? So much so that I knew when to pack my bag. I knew like clockwork, like what my body was going to do and when it was going to do it, and when old girl Aunt Flo was going to be showing up every month. But today, something was different. Like I was like kind of stuck in a blank stare, because I'm like thinking like, how did I miss this? And my coworker sitting in front of me, she immediately noticed and pointed out the fact that she saw me looking at my fertility calendar, and I'm just like, girl, mind your business. Like, we just kind of laughed it off, but I'm sitting there mentally really confused and slightly panicking in my head. I'm like, hold on, I don't feel anything, and we might be in trouble. So that weekend, we went out of town for a cousin's graduation party, and it was the series of events that followed that solidified the fact that, yeah, something was up. No Aunt Flo when we left, but I was cramping, still that kind of, the signs might be there that it was coming. I had all my stuff with me, but nothing was happening. I was very short of breath that weekend, like chalked it up to, okay, I missed a few days in the gym, babe, we need to go back, but I can't breathe. Peeing a lot, and I was hungry, like like embarrassingly hungry, y'all. Like I was really hungry. And it was very noticeable by everybody, but it still wasn't enough yet for me to be alarmed, right? But it was that brunch before we left that weekend. Sunday morning, my family went for brunch, still celebrating my cousin, and that's what confirmed it for me. First of all, we standing outside, we waiting for our table, and I'm the only one, right? We taking pictures. I'm the only one who could smell the darn seasoning that they using always in the kitchen from outside, and I'm just like, y'all don't smell that? Every time the doors open and everybody looking at me like I'm crazy, like no. And I'm like, okay, is it just me, or I'm hungry? But I smell this food, it's amazing. So we go in and we grab our food, and I go to sit down at the table and get ready to take a bite of my food, and that feeling hit me. The nausea, and not that usual, okay, I'm car sick nausea, or I ate something bad nausea. No, that nausea that have you scoping out your nearest escape route, or that nausea that you be spending your early mornings with your head in the toilet bowl. That nausea because it's an aversion to foods and smells and things like that. That nausea, and my mind started racing. Okay, I'm thinking ain't nobody paying attention. I done pulled out my little phone, look at that fertility calendar, and I am now 5 days late. My sister is sitting across from me. She catches me looking, and she looks at me across the table and she was like, "You pregnant?" Ain't nobody here but me, but I wanted to punch in her face, because mind your business. No, I ain't pregnant. But I spent the rest of that day real quiet, right, and anxious. I pick when I'm anxious. I'm gonna tell y'all about that later. I pick my skin when I'm anxious. So my husband immediately picked up on it, right? And the rest of the day, you know, we driving back to go pick up our kids, and he's just asking me like, "Are you okay? You sure you're okay?" And I'm just like, I'm fine. You know, I'm trying to go to sleep and sleep the day off, because I ain't ready to talk about this yet, because I'm like, I might be pregnant. So, you know, this conversation with him led to a conversation about my anxiety. And, you know, later that night, we're still talking about it. And all he said to me was, "Babe, you know, you really got to stop worrying so much." And I lost it. I mean, I cried so bad. And I'm not really, well, not with him had I been very much a crybaby. So this was weird for him. And he's just looking at me like, what is going on? And that's what I knew. I said, okay, something is up. Like, something is up, because the conversation was so innocent, y'all. And I'm sitting here boo-hooing like a baby. You would have thought this man that put his hands on me and walked out of my life. It wasn't that serious. So the next morning, I'm like, I'm stopping by the store and getting a test before I go to work. Now, the first test, I messed it up. I was so nervous. Like, peed all over the stick. Nothing. It's just inconclusive. So, couldn't do nothing with that test. At my lunch break, I snuck away to take the second one. Before I could get the cap back on good, bam, pregnant. I'm in the bathroom, shaking like a stripper, y'all. Like, trying to get myself together. I'm more nervous at this than the first time when I told y'all, when y'all met Jay. Like, I'm more nervous in this bathroom. I don't know why. I was a mess, right? Trying to get myself together. Snuck back down the hall to my office and text one of my closest friends, who at the time was also a coworker of mine, the results. And I'm crying. I mean, I cried so dang on much, first of all, through this pregnancy. Hormones all over the place. That's all I did was cry the first few months of this pregnancy. So I'm crying so much that I'm like, all right, I gotta go. So I leave work. One of my other co-workers, poor thing, she sees me outside. She's like, "You okay?" I'm just running to the car. "Girl, yeah, I'm fine. I'm out." Call my husband. I'm like, "Look, I'm coming to meet you. Gotta tell you something." But still, me being a woman of dramatics and one who loves a surprise, a sucker for a surprise, I stopped by the Dollar Tree, grabbed me a little gift box, stuck the test in there, because, you know, we got to have a surprise factor in this. Meet my husband, tell him we need to talk about the conversation that we had last night. He buys it, because this is not out of the ordinary. We usually come back to and talk about, you know, any discussions or disagreements we have that may linger on. So I give him the box when we meet up. He's shocked, but he's happy. And guess what I was doing? Yep, I was still crying. So after getting over the initial shock of learning that we are pregnant with baby number 3, things were pretty normal as far as like the pregnancy stuff, for the most part in the beginning. You know, again, a lot of emotions, a lot of hormones, but it settled in for a minute. You know, okay, we're having another baby. Boom, let's just get prepared, so to speak. Hubby was excited. Of course, we're hoping for a boy, all the good things, but, you know, pretty normal stuff. We probably looked at each other every other day and, you know, said, I can't believe we're about to have another kid. But we did what we had to do, and we were just, from that point on, preparing to welcome baby number 3. But then April 1st rolls around. I'm 6 months pregnant at this point, and I'm at work, and I'm minding my business, you know, having a great Friday with my girls at work. I'm a therapist, just a reminder, and we're all therapists. And on Friday, we ran a women's group together, right? So we're in this group, and I noticed that while we're doing the therapy group, I'm having what feels like Braxton Hicks, but they are very uncomfortable, like to the point where I'm visibly shifting around in my seat. And you can tell that I'm uncomfortable. Like, you can see something is up. I wasn't tripping at first, because remember when I was pregnant with Jordy, they started kind of early as well. So I'm like, no biggie, baby number 3, you know, probably in my mind, I'm like, probably something your body just does, right? So we continue our therapy group. I'm trying to focus, but I can't help but notice these Braxton Hicks hurt. And I start watching the clock because I'm noticing the pattern in the Braxton Hicks, and they're coming like every 3 to 4 minutes, right? So one of my coworkers, she notices and she kind of mouths to me across the room, "Are you okay?" And I nod, and we keep on going on with group. Once the group is over, we all hang back like we normally do. We would usually go to lunch and something like that. And my friend that asked me was like, okay, she's a doula outside of being a therapist. So she comes over and she's like, you're not okay. You're not okay. What is wrong? And I filled them in like, hey, y'all, yeah, I'm having contractions. Well, Braxton Hicks, so I thought at the time. And they're like, you need to go to the hospital. So I go in my office and I call my OB on my lunch, and they advised me to come into the office right then. Well, I won't do it. I didn't feel like it. I was having a good day. I didn't feel like, they were unbearable. At this point, I feel like I'm a pro. I'm like, I'll be all right. I'm good. So I'm hard headed, and I worked the rest of the day. Didn't go nowhere. Told my husband, I was like, I'll just go by, the women's hospital when I get off. So that's what I did. I get off work. I go to the women's hospital to get checked out. At this point, I'm still contracting. I'm still having those same, what I thought were Braxton Hicks. So they take me in, they check me. Lo and behold, I'm contracting. Hook me up to the little monitors. And then they notice that I'm also slightly dilated. So not only am I contracting, I'm dilating, right? Not by much, but enough for them to be worried. And I'm only 6 months pregnant. So to bed rest, you go. Okay, no biggie. Who don't want a couple of days off of work? Well, no big deal to me. So I'm like, I'll take it. They wrote me out. You'll be off work until Tuesday. Stay in the bed. I ain't really listen that much over the weekend. Like, I was in and out of the bed. I would lay down a little bit, but still was up doing laundry, all of that. Contractions, they were still coming sporadically, and they still had a pattern to them. But whenever I would get up to do something, like that weekend I was like trying to do laundry and things like that, they would pick up and they wouldn't stop. But I still felt like it was something that I could manage. So that Tuesday rolls around. I go back in, to get my little checkup, and they're confirming that my body is still mimicking early labor. So I'm like, all right, but I feel fine. So let me get my note. Let me go back to work. My doctor turned around and said, "You ain't going back to work? Who ain't going back to work? I need my note. I gotta go to work." She's like, no ma'am, you're on bed rest from now on. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Who on bed rest? You ain't going back to work? Okay. The next 2.5 months would turn out to be a living nightmare, both physically and mentally. Physically, the contractions never stopped. And if I got up to do anything more than just go to the restroom or, I don't know, go get a snack, they would pick up, and I would either end up at the hospital or the doctor's office, and they would give me a shot or some kind of pill, the medication, same medication in the shot, but in a pill form, that would stop the contractions in the early labor. And on my body, it was such a very exhausting experience, like being in and out of the hospital, never know when it was really or just having to deal with another false alarm. And if you have ever had the medication they use for false labor, horrible, like whatever that is, it was horrible, and my body did not like it. It would cause my chest to freaking hurt so bad. I would get hot flashes. Like, to me, it was more painful to give me that medication than it was for me to just deal with those contractions, because to me the contractions were still very mild, but I hated that medication. One of the last times that I was admitted for the false labor, I was begging them to just go ahead and take this kid out. I was like, please just let me have her. Please just put me in labor. I just want to have her, because I was so tired of doing this. And of course they discouraged it. They were saying like, Mom, you don't want that. Her lungs are going to be underdeveloped. She's going to be underweight. Like, we don't want to do that. You really, really want to try your best to keep her baking as long as you could. And They gave me those injections at that point during that last time that I went, that are supposed to like mature her lungs. Because they're like, hey, look, let's just get this baby prepped because we don't know when she gonna come, because she keep playing cat and mouse games. So they gave me the injections to start maturing her lungs. But I was over it, y'all, and I started becoming resentful of this kid. Like I was angry with this kid. I'm like, I'm angry, I'm frustrated. Why is she putting me through all of this? Like, I just wanted to have her and get it over with. Now mentally, bed rest was the most lonely and depressing experience I've probably ever had. One of the most lonely and depressing experiences I've ever had. Like, on top of it being lonely and depressing, I went to file for my short-term disability benefits at work and found out that during open enrollment, which it's now April when I realized I'm going to be on bed rest. So during open enrollment previous year, my job had messed up on my paperwork. So I go to file my short-term disability and I didn't have any. I didn't have it. Okay. Which meant zero pay for me while I was out those next few months. And I do not wish what we experienced in those next few months on anybody. Okay? On nobody. This is also a lesson on checking on your strong friends, because so many people assumed that I was okay. And that was because I had a support system in my husband and, my immediate family, who remained just super supportive. So people assumed that I didn't need anybody, that I was okay, and I needed people. I needed my people. I needed a village. We needed a village. And I not only needed them, I wanted them. I wanted them to show up. And I had an expectation that they would show up, right? But I also learned my own lessons during this time about vulnerability, being open with people, and being transparent, and knowing how to voice when I need my people. But needless to say, in the wake of all of this stuff that was happening, bed rest, now we broke because we on one income, that kind of stuff, we didn't do a lot of the traditional things that you would with your pregnancies. There was no maternity pictures, there was no baby showers, no gender reveals, none of that stuff. Like, I just wanted her to come out, and I just wanted to get this over with. Now, her due date was not until the end of June. I think it was like around June 26th or something like that. And I'm just counting down the days at this point, y'all. I'm counting down the days. I'm like, look, at any point. And again, I'm frustrated because I'm like, how am I going to know when it's time? Because I had so many instances of false labor. I never really knew when it was going to be time for this child to come. So on June 10th, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was cramping. So it was no longer like those previous contractions. It felt more like menstrual cramps, which was weird. So I was like, I'm up. Like, this has my attention. So I'm up. So I go jump in the shower. It's like early morning at this point. And I let my husband know, like, hey, something is off, but I'm going to just kind of stay up and see what's happening. Didn't want to go to the hospital because at this point, the hospital had been my second home. So we just hung around the house that morning. My husband got up. He cooked breakfast. And we were just kind of waiting around to see what was going to happen. So after I ate, I'm really nauseous and I had an upset stomach. So I'm running back and forth to the bathroom, which again was different because I hadn't been sick. And in my mind, I'm like, this might be it. Like, something might be up. So I tell him, hey, let's head on over to the hospital just to get checked out because I thought we might be there. And lo and behold, when we get there, I was indeed moving in dilation, and I had also lost my mucus plug, which was new for me because, again, listed other two stories. I usually have very dry labors. None of this stuff happens, right? Mucus plugs and things like that. So at this point, things weren't really unbearable. Contracting all these months, it ain't really nothing new. But again, the contractions feel more like cramps than contracting. So they offered to either let me go home or they would let me stay and labor and see if I would continue dilating. Well, I spent a lot of time in that hospital. I wanted to go home. So I'm like, well, I'm going to just go home and keep laboring until I'm ready to come back in. So that's what we did. And at this point, when they're sending me away back home, I'm only about 2 to 3 centimeters dilated. So we get back home and I head to the back room and I'm like, I'm going to lay down for a little while. My sister is there to watch our girls for us, and she runs out with her boyfriend to grab them some food. I'm not laying down 15 minutes, y'all, and I start to feel what feels like my baby's head descending into my pelvis, and I'm freaking out because I ain't never felt this before. Like, yep. And I'm like, babe, hold on, we gotta go back. Like, something ain't right. So he called my sister. He, rushing her, like, you gotta come back. You gotta get back to the house. Like, we gotta get to the hospital because something ain't right. And the contractions are harder. They're closer. So I'm like, yeah, let's go back because I could feel her. Like, this ain't right. So we get back to the hospital, and I'm now 5 centimeters dilated. Now, at this point, just to give you guys a frame of reference, the time from when I left the hospital, going back home and getting back had not even been an hour. Okay, so this was very fast. So I had jumped up to 5 centimeters from 2 to 3 in less than an hour. Okay, cool. So at this point, they're keeping me because they're like, you're 5 centimeters. Things are moving pretty fast. You were just here, let's go. So y'all know me. After the other 2 episodes, I want the drugs. Where are the drugs? I'm begging for the drugs. And this time, hold the Percocet, please. Give me the drugs. So they're telling me, like, okay, as soon as you're checked in, Miss Gregory, we're going to get you the drugs. We're going to get you an IV. They try to get the IV in. I'm sweating like a dog because at this point, it's the real deal. I'm 5 centimeters. I am contracting hard, okay? And they can't even get the IV in. They can't get the little sticky paper on the IV to stick. Like, it's going down. So finally, they do get it to stick. And the meds, did you give me anything? They like, we gave you, it ain't working. Nothing is happening. Where are the meds? Where are the drugs? Okay, go get Jan. Tell her to bring the epidural because nothing is happening. And they're like, no, Miss Gregory, we gave you the medicine. It's just that you're so far along. Like, at this point, that medicine ain't gonna work. Pretty much. We need to get you the epidural. Where's the epidural? Come on. So they tell me, we're gonna call anesthesia. We're just gonna get you down to your room. Once again, y'all, stuff is fast, right? All of this has happened maybe within 30 minutes that I'm there. They're trying to get me checked in. They're giving me an IV. So about 30 minutes go by, and they're like moving me to the room where now I'm going to start laboring. But things are ramping up, and I am at this point losing it. So they check me. I am now 9.5 centimeters. That fast. I went from 5 to 9.5 from the time I checked in till they moved me to my room. And they're like, well, no epidural. You're 9.5 centimeters. We're about to push. Who about to push? I'm not pushing out nothing and nobody without that needle. Go get the man with the needle. I'm not doing it at all. Like, y'all, I had never in the history of nevers been this far in labor without medication. I am losing my everlasting. All of it. I don't do pain well, if you can't tell. If y'all ain't been able to, I don't do pain well. I don't do it. I am spazzing out. Okay? I'm spazzing out. I'm hyperventilating. My girl, my midwife from my practice, she was amazing, but she done came up to me and she is like, grab my face, baby, breathe. You are not breathing. Breathe. I done came up out my hospital gown. Okay? In my birthday suit. Hospital gown gone. I am climbing this bed, hollering. Where's the meds? Me and her having a verbal screaming match. She's like, breathe, calm down. I told her, are you having this baby? Are you pushing? Because leave me alone. It hurts, right? I cut the fool so bad up in that place, y'all. I still be embarrassed to this day. Like, if it was a lady in there getting ready to have a baby, I know she was scared when she heard me down there cutting the food. And like, I was cutting that food because I was cutting the food, right? At this point, my body is no longer allowing me to have an option. It's forcing me to push, right? Because this baby is coming, whether I like it or not. And my midwife and my husband are trying to coach me through this. My husband's like, babe, you can do it. She right there. Like, it's forcing. I'm trying not to push, y'all, because I was being very rebellious, but I couldn't help it. Like, contractions came, I had to bear down and push. No medication, but my body is making me, and I'm still refusing. I'm like, no, I can't. I can't do it. It hurts too bad. It's hurting too bad. My husband like, baby, you're doing it. Like, she right there. She's coming. She's coming. Nope. So let me tell you what I did. Because I'm crazy. I started demanding and close my legs. Nope. Not pushing. Get me an epidural. Get me an epidural. They like, first of all, Miss Gregory, it is too late. You are literally pushing. Like, by the time we call him up here, she could be out. Like, she could be out. And I'm telling them, stop talking to me. Stop talking to me right now. Because who are you talking to? Go get this epidural. Because I'm not pushing. I'm refusing, y'all. I don't care. It hurt like crap. And I'm like, nope, not pushing. Nope. Then they like, but then it's an entire needle that got to go in your back, ma'am. And how you going to sit still? You can't even sit still through these contractions. How are you going to... Nope. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not pushing. Bring the drugs. Bring them here now. I didn't have to show out the way I did that day, y'all. Like, I really didn't have to show out the way I did, but I did. I really showed out. So they listen. Here come the man. The man come, he got his little hands on his hip. He's saying the same stuff to me that they was just saying. And what I'm saying to him is, sir, if you take the time that you standing here talking to me right now and stop talking and give me these meds, we can be done by now. We can be done, and I can push this kid out. Y'all, I'm 10 centimeters. This is what I'm doing. I'm literally holding my baby in, right? Long story short, I get the epidural. They give me the epidural at 10 centimeters. Everybody who hears this story is like, are you kidding me? I'm not kidding y'all. 10 centimeters, because I made them, they give me the epidural. I sat through it, don't know how, but hey, needle in my back. They don't even get me laying down on the bed good, and all the machines in the room just start going crazy. Pooch heart rate dropped, oxygen levels falling. All the people start running in like something you see on TV. They shoving papers in my face to sign. They saying all these words to me and my husband, and all I heard was emergency C-section. That's all I heard. I mean, breaking down beds, pulling stuff out. It was so scary. It was very scary, like the stuff you see on TV. Like, I remember the look on my husband's face, like he's trying not to panic, but he's panicking, and he's listening to all this stuff these people saying, and I'm just like, at this point crying, like, oh my God. And they're prepping me for surgery. They're giving him gear. I remember my husband's phone was blowing up, because the funny part of this is my mom has never missed any of her grandchildren's birth ever. And because Pooch would play peekaboo during this entire time I was pregnant with her, she kept saying like, this kid is gonna wait clean until I'm gone, because she had a trip before she come. And lo and behold, that was the weekend my mama was gone. My mama is blowing my husband's phone up. I remember hearing that phone ring ring. And my husband picked the phone and was like, I can't answer. They taking her into surgery, and hung it up. Oh God, why he do that? My mom was freaking out. So they're prepping me for surgery. This is my first time in my life that I've ever had a surgery, ever been in an operating room, and I am terrified. Whatever they put in my IV or in my back or whatever they did, it was enough to, calm me down a little bit, send me in and out of consciousness. I do remember when I got into that cold, bright operating room, I was so scared, but the nurse was so super supportive. She was rubbing my arm and rubbing my head, and my husband wasn't in there yet because he was still dressing out. And it was an emergency, so they had to rush me down there, and before he could come down with me. But she was just reassuring me that I was going to be okay, and that I was okay, and they was going to take good care of me. And I remember dozing off. I don't even remember like them cutting me, and I just remember kind of dozing off. And then when I kind of woke back up and was alert, I don't know if they woke me up, I just know I woke back up, and I looked over, and my husband was in the room behind a glass, and he gave me the thumbs up that the baby was here. So all 9 pounds. Yes, I had 2 9-pound babies, y'all. All 9 pounds, 3 ounces of her. Another baby girl, and it was finished. It was finished. And I just dozed on back off to sleep and thanked God that it was over. Pooch was the cutest little chunky baby with huge chubby cheeks and the most precious little innocent face. But y'all, she was huge, like a little Christmas ham, like big. All them newborn clothes, we took them right on back. She was definitely in the 3 to 6 months when she was born. But that's how she earned the name that she is affectionately called by her dad still to this day. She was breastfed, which naturally made her an attached baby. She found comfort and things like a blankie or cozying up to you, the girl would grip you with dear life. Like, she won't go never let you go, and wanted to be, you know, all up under you while you slept. She was definitely a little attached baby. I had to carry her in like the little Moby wrap because she just wanted to be near you. But she definitely got her chance at being spoiled rotten, being the baby, and loved on. When Pooch was about 2 months old, we found out that she had asthma. Scariest few weeks ever with the newborn, but after multiple trips to the ER and our pediatrician, we realized, well, they finally realized what was going on. And from that point on, our life consisted of breathing treatments and steroids, a lot of trips to the doctor, a lot of trips to the ER, and things like that with the little baby. And it's crazy because normally they don't get or detect asthma that early, from my understanding, but they caught it pretty early with her. And as she gets older, her asthma hasn't been as severe as it used to be, and we are grateful to God for that. But that's also how she earned the nickname Wheezy. Now, Pooch has been strong-willed since her conception and to this day, as you can tell, and it still remains. Like, she is absolutely determined to do things according to her terms and her terms only. Like, not to the point of disobedience so much. I mean, every child has their moments of disobedience, but she's not really defiant, but definitely one of those, I need to know why you want me to do this and why it's important, because otherwise it's an immediate no for me type of attitude. Like, there's a lot of negotiating that happens with this kid, like a lot of explanation, and this is why you have to take a bath because it's important, and this is why you have to take a bath every day, like type things with her. She has been petty boots since she was a baby, mischievous and hilarious, like funny. Like, she is truly the comedian of this family. She was and still is always into something. Like, if you walked up on something that shouldn't been done, like emptying an entire bottle of powder on the floor and then making snow angels in it, Pooch did it. Taking an entire jar of Vaseline and slathering it all on her hands and face and all over the house, and Pooch did it. Emptying all the hand soap into the sink and then putting water in the hand soap jar. Pooch did it. Like, if you ever had, like, Pooch did it, you just knew that Pooch did it. Jetting out into the street, you know, when you're trying to hold her hand, she take out running into the street. Snuck out the house during a snowstorm one time, and you know, we were going to take the kids out the house, but no, she snuck. She was barely walking, but she snuck out the house, and all of us are calling her to come back in the house. She snuck out and then stood there. We have it on camera, guys. She stood there, and then when we're like, hey, come back, she takes off running into the snow. My sister had to run out there with no shoes on to go get her. Yeah, Pooch, she did that. She is queen of mischief. And you know how, like, most kids, they commit mischief and then they're like scared, or they cower, or they run because they're scared they're going to be in trouble. Nope. Not Pooch. She's going to smirk or laugh or ask you to come play with her. Like, hey, come make powder snow angels with me, because she thinks that what she did was absolutely okay in her world. Like, what's wrong? I ain't supposed to put powder on the floor. Like, that's who she is. Very obnoxious. She goes through her day making sound effects that, like, narrate the story of her life that day, and the faces she makes, I can't even begin to describe them through the microphone. Like, the girl is very animated, like very animated, brutally honest. This kid is brutally honest and matter of fact. Let me tell you something. Do not ask her anything that you don't want to know the answer to, because she's most definitely going to let you know. She's going to let you know that you're a chunky girl. She's going to spit out your food and tell you it was nasty. Nasty. Like, that kind of, yeah. She'll also trace your surgery scars on your belly and tell you how much they remind her of the buttons on a robot. while she makes the boop 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 sound like the robot. How do I know that she's going to do these things to you? Because I've been personally victimized by her since she was a toddler. I might be eligible for compensation at this point. That's how I know. Pooch is also the foodie of the house, like the snack bandit, if you will. She loves to eat. Okay, she likes to try new food. Food has a special place in her heart. She might wake up and there's a fruit snack under her pillow, the wrappers, or don't leave the bag of chips that you want tomorrow neatly tucked on the dining room table, because they won't be there in the morning if she wakes up first. Like she adores food. That is her jam. She likes food. She's the least picky out of the bunch. She'll try almost any food at least once. But yeah, that's the snack bandit. When we go on vacation and you ask everybody what they're most looking forward to, Pooch is looking forward to the food, and she gonna let you know, I'm looking forward to eating. Like, I want to eat. That's what I want to do, and that is her love language. None of my kids have issues with learning, but Pooch, she's the one that learning comes the easiest for, right? Super smart kid, like probably the easiest kid to learn, because she picks up on things really fast and then she just remembers them. Like, she's very, very smart. My other kids, they have to really work hard for their grades. Like, they get the good grades, but they're working for those grades. Not Pooch. It really comes easy for her. She's like, oh, spell this, got it, spelt, but she's so smart that she knows how to con you into believing that she actually knows nothing, especially if she don't want to do it. Again, strong-willed, very strong-willed. She's also a neurodivergent baby as well, but it wasn't that obvious with her as it was for Jordy, and I'm going to share that story with y'all in another episode, so I'm going to leave that there. But also neurodivergent. I think the thing I love most about this kid is how wild her imagination is. Like, even at 7, she's still very much a kid who loves to play, right? She's the one kid in the house. She doesn't mind not having an electronic. She likes them, but if she doesn't have them, she's fine. You know why? Because she want to go outside and play. Like, she want to explore. She want to get into all the things. She will dump every toy out that toy box and play with every last one of them. Okay? Her most favorite thing to do is play dress up. All right, those of you who watch my stories, if you follow me on social media, you know them boots, them random dance costumes that she'll find, the sun hat that makes a guest appearance and is a paid actor. It'll make a surprise appearance at any given moment, because that is her. That's what she does. She walks around here in boots and heels, and you just never know. But she loves to play. I love that about her, because nowadays, kids, their faces are just in tablets and TVs, but she will play. She doesn't mind. She's also a fierce protector. Like, don't mess with her sisters or her family, because she coming. Okay, she coming. She gonna get you. We're still kind of discovering what her talents are, but I'm gonna bet on the fact that I feel like she's gonna be the family athlete. She did competitive cheer for a while, and this past fall we tried softball, which she ended up being really good at. We were kind of surprised, but she was really, really good at it. But her dream is to be a track star. How? The child ain't never ran nowhere in her life besides on our nerves, but she wants to be a track star. She says it all the time. She still very much desires to run. I gotta find my baby track team. And how fitting that would be, because Pooch literally runs everything in this house. And we just gonna, allow her to run on and see what the end is gonna be, because we don't know. We don't know where her talents lie yet. And I mean, she might be a stand-up comedian. Who knows? The child is hilarious. But I'll let her tell y'all more about who she is when you meet her. But here's the thing about Pooch, right? She likes to act as if she's shy, and many people who experience her in public comment on like how well behaved she is, and oh my god, Pooch is so sweet. And I don't get it, because I feel like she's gonna get on this podcast and she's gonna do the same thing. She's gonna act like she's so shy and so sweet, and I just don't know what she's gonna give y'all. So I'm very interested to see, and I just want you to know that whatever she gets on here and shows y'all, that sweet innocent, that's not who she is. And I used to wonder why she only chose violence when she got home, but in public she would just be this sweet little angel. But my therapist told me, because I'm a therapist who has a therapist, that kids do that because they feel safer at home. And I mean, I must be captain of safety patrol, because when she gets home, she is Donnie from the Wild Thornberries. Have y'all ever seen them? Donnie. That is Pooch when she arrives home. Like, that is who she is. So we will see who shows up when it's her turn to introduce herself on the podcast. All right, y'all. I think that was a wild enough ride that I took you on today, but that's it. I hope that you all enjoyed getting to meet all 3 of my babies as told by me. And next week, the wait is over. You will finally get to meet them as told by them. I know this is what y'all been waiting on, and finally it is coming next week. So make sure y'all are tuning in, paying attention for when those episodes are going to drop. As always, thanks for listening, and before you go, like, share, subscribe, and review. Again, y'all did y'all big one last week with the reviews. The people told me they appreciate you. The people is me, okay? This week, I want to challenge you to share your favorite episode with at least one person. Or all you got to do is hit share on social media. Whichever episode is your favorite so far, go ahead and share it. Tell them about Breathe Black Mom, the podcast, and ask them to tune in. Also, make sure you are following the Breathe Black Mom podcast on Facebook and Instagram for announcements, show updates, and a chance to engage in some discussions or even some polls from time to time to tell me what it is you guys are looking for or what it is you guys are enjoying about the podcast. That's all for today, y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon. Until then, just breathe.